Welcome, listeners, to Legends Untold, where the echoes of history reverberate through time, bringing the stories of legendary figures back to life. I'm your host, Whimsical Amy, and together we'll travel to far-off lands and forgotten kingdoms, unveiling the lives of those whose names have been etched into the fabrics of history. From fierce queens and gallant warriors to cunning leaders and unsung heroes, these are the stories that shaped our world. Today we begin our journey in the land of Zazzau, where a young girl destined for greatness rose to lead armies and forge a legacy of power and courage. Let me take you to the 16th century, deep in the heart of what is now known as Nigeria, to the time of Queen Amina of Zazzau. The sun hung low over the city of Zazzau, casting a golden glow over its bustling streets. In the grand palace, the sound of clashing swords echoed through the halls. Amidst the warriors in training stood a young girl, Amina. Her skin glistened with sweat, but her eyes gleamed with the fire of determination. She was no ordinary girl. From the moment she could walk, Amina had rejected the traditional role of noble woman. She had no desire to sit in silence, embroidering clothes or learning courtly manners. As she parried and struck her partner, a seasoned warrior named Abubakar, she caught her father, King Bakwa Turunko, watching from the shadows. With a final thrust, she disarmed Abubakar, sending his sword clattering to the ground. The warrior stepped back, shaking his head in disbelief. "You fight like no other, Amina," he said, admiration in his voice. "Perhaps Allah himself has blessed your sword hand." King Bakwa stepped forward, a proud smile curling on his lips. "The gods may have had a hand in it, but it is your will that has forged the skill," he said, placing a hand on Amina's shoulder. "You have the heart of a warrior, my daughter. One day you will do great things." Little did the king know how true his words would become. When King Bakwa died, his son Karama ascended to the throne, but it was Amina who led the armies. For 10 years, she ruled alongside the warriors of Zazzau, honing her skills in combat and strategy. She learned the art of war not from books or scrolls, but from the battlefield itself. But the real story begins when Karama, the king, suddenly fell ill. As the strength waned, whispers spread through the kingdom. Whispers that it was Amina, not Karama, who should have taken the throne. One evening, Amina stood at her brother's bedside, his breathing shallow, his face pale. "You must take the crown," Karama said, his voice barely a whisper. "Zazzau needs a leader. Strength, not just by blood, but by sword." Amina's gaze was steady as she nodded. "I'll not let our kingdom fall," she promised. "I'll defend Zazzau with everything I have." When Karama passed, the crown rested on Amina's head. But unlike her predecessors, Amina did not stay within the palace walls. No, she rode at the head of her cavalry, her warriors clad in armor gleaming in the sun. Her reputation spread far and wide. Amina, the warrior queen who knew no fear. Years passed and the lands of Zazzau grew under Amina's rule. She was a master of strategy and a brilliant negotiator. Kingdoms far and wide sent emissaries bearing gifts, hoping to secure her favor. Yet it wasn't wealth or flattery that impressed Amina, it was strength. She would often say, "Who holds the land holds the future, and I will hold the land." One afternoon, Amina stood atop the walls of Zazzau, watching the horizon. Her general, Ibrahim, approached her, his brow furrowed with worry. "Queen Amina," he began cautiously, "there are rumors from the east. The Nupe kingdom plans to rise against us. They are gathering forces even now." Amina turned to him, her expression unreadable. "Let them come," she said simply. "They will learn, as all others have, that Zazzau does not fall." She paused for a moment, then spoke again, her voice lower and more intense. "Gather the warriors, we march at dawn." True to her word, Amina led her armies against the Nupe kingdom, and after a brutal campaign, she emerged victorious. But it wasn't just the sword that made her legendary, it was her mind. After each conquest, Amina would fortify the cities she overtook with thick walls. These walls, known as Ganuwa Amina, stretched across the land like silent sentinels, guarding her legacy long after she was gone. On one of these campaigns, after a hard-fought victory, Amina sat by the fire with her most trusted generals. The crackling flames danced in the night air, casting shadows on their weary face. "Amina," General Ibrahim said, "you have fought many battles, conquered many lands. Do you never wish for peace?" Amina gazed into the fire, her expression softening for just a moment. "Peace," she said slowly, "is earned. And until Zazzau is secure, truly secure, I cannot rest." One of the generals leaned forward, his eyes shining with curiosity. "What drives you, Queen Amina? Is it glory? power? She looked up at him, her eyes sharp. It's neither. I fight for the land, for the future of our people. Without land, we have no home. Without home, we have no future. And I will carve that future with my own hands. Her words hung in the air like a prophecy, and the men around her knew that they were in the presence of greatness. Years passed, and Queen Amina continued to expand her kingdom, building alliances and securing trade routes. Her reign was long and prosperous, and her name became synonymous with strength and resilience. But even in her later years, Amina never rested. She could still be seen riding out at dawn, a sword at her side, her eyes scanning the horizon for the next change. Though Amina never married, she left behind a legacy far greater than any family line. Her walls stood tall, her kingdom thrived, and her name was etched into the history of Africa as one of the greatest rulers to have ever lived. It is said that on her deathbed, surrounded by her warriors and advisors, Amina spoke her final words. I have fought, I have bled, and I have won. That the Zazzau will stand long after I am gone, because I dared to lead. And so Queen Amina of Zazzau passed into a legend, a warrior, a leader, a queen who defied all expectations and shaped the future of her people. Her story lives on not just in the lands she conquered, but in the hearts of all who hear her tale. A legacy of courage and strength still lives on. Thank you for joining me on Legends Untold. I'm still whimsical Amy. Until next time, stay inspired by the legends of the past. Bye.